Did you know that a fully furnished, move-in ready home can be deployed on your property in less than a day? For less than $60,000 all in? And what if I told you that the old-school prefab industry, the one that has been called the affordable housing solution for 30 years, is quietly being priced out of its own lane by a new generation of homes that fold up like origami and ship across the country on a single flatbed truck? Because in 2026, that is not a pitch. That is the data. Today, we are going to crack open the real cost numbers on expandable folding homes versus traditional prefab construction. We are talking factory gate prices, total landed costs, hidden fees, build timelines, and the one expense that almost nobody mentions, the one that can quietly add $15,000 to your bill before you ever move in. Stick with me to the end of this video, because about 2/3 of the way through, I'm going to reveal which type of home actually wins on total value when you factor in everything, and the answer surprised even me. Real quick before we dive in, if you are new here, this channel is called Affordable Tiny Homes. We cover alternative housing with honest, data-backed research. No fluff, no sponsor takes. Hit subscribe and tap that bell so you catch every video we drop. And if you have ever thought about building or buying a small home of any kind, drop a comment below and tell me what your budget looks like. I read every single one. All right, let's get into it. Here is where we need to start, because there's a lot of confusion between different types of prefab, and that confusion costs people money. Traditional prefab, the modular home that gets built in sections at a factory and shipped to your lot, has genuinely gotten better over the last decade. Build quality is solid, energy efficiency is improving, and the factory control process really does eliminate a lot of on-site waste. The global prefab market is expected to grow from about $143 billion in 2025 to nearly $154 billion in 2026, a compound annual growth rate of 7.6%. So the industry is growing. But here is the honest truth about costs. Site-built traditional construction in the U.S. currently averages between $150 and $250 per square foot, and often higher in major metros. Traditional prefab modular homes are cheaper than that, but they are not cheap. You are still looking at foundation costs, site prep, utility hookups, delivery fees, and crane placement, all stacked on top of the base home price. And the timeline? Even a fast modular build takes weeks to months from order to occupancy. A custom modular home can stretch to 6 to 12 months from design to move in. That is where expandable folding homes walk in and flip the script. So let us define what we are actually talking about, because the category has a few different names that get used interchangeably. Expandable folding homes, also called expandable container houses or foldable prefab homes, are structures built at a factory with a steel frame and insulated wall panels. The key engineering difference from traditional modular homes is this. The walls, roof sections, and sometimes room extensions are designed to fold inward or collapse flat for shipping. Then on site, they unfold or expand outward to reveal the full living space. Think of it like a mechanical flower, folded for travel, open for living. There are a few main types in 2026. First, you have Z-fold units, which use a proprietary flat profile folding mechanism to reduce transport volume by over 70%. These can fit 8 to 10 units into a single 40-foot shipping container. Then you have X-fold units, sometimes called wing fold systems, where the side panels fold inward like wings. These are the fastest to set up. More on that in a moment. And then you have what manufacturers are calling expandable luxury units or folded room homestays. Units that automatically expand to 1.5 to 2 times their shipping footprint with pre-installed electrical, plumbing, and interior finishes already built in before they leave the factory. The structural engineering is not flimsy. These units are built from high-strength steel frames with galvanized cold bent members for corrosion resistance. They use high-density EPS insulated panels in the walls and roof. They are rated for wind resistance to level 10, that is roughly 70 to 90 miles per hour, and engineered for snow loads of up to 40 pounds per square foot. Design service life is typically 20 years. These are not garden sheds. These are engineered structures. Factory gate price. Let us run the actual numbers side by side. starting at the factory gate. For a conventional traditional prefab modular home, you're typically looking at base prices that are still well into six figures when you include a realistic floor plan, finishes, and systems. Entry-level units exist, but anything livable for a family tends to start around $100,000 to $150,000 at the factory. Expandable folding homes tell a completely different story. Entry-level single-room units start as low as $4,600 to $12,000 at the factory. A well-equipped 20-foot single-bedroom unit with a kitchen and full bathroom, like the kind Cherry Industrial and Irami manufacture, runs roughly $17,000 to $29,000. A larger 40-foot, two-bedroom expandable unit typically lands in the $40,000 to $60,000 range from the manufacturer. That is not a rounding error. We are talking about a category-level difference in base price. Shipping and logistics. Here is where expandable folding homes show another edge, and it comes down to physics. Because these units fold flat, you can fit 8 to 10 of them into a single 40-foot shipping container. That is versus 1, maybe 2 traditional modular sections. What that means is the shipping cost per unit is dramatically compressed. Z-Fold manufacturers report transport cost reductions exceeding 70% compared to conventional modular units. But I want to be honest with you here, because this is the nuance that a lot of enthusiast content skips. If you are importing one of these units from an overseas manufacturer, which is where most of the production currently is, primarily China, you're looking at ocean freight costs between $4,000 and $8,000 for a 20-foot unit. Port handling, chassis rental, and customs broker fees add another $1,500 to $2,500. And here is the one that bites people. Section 301 tariffs on imported steel structures into the U.S. Budget a minimum of 25% of the commercial value of the unit for import duties. That is a big number, and you need to know about it before you commit. One more thing on the tariff side. The exact duty can shift depending on how your customs broker classifies the unit. Prefabricated buildings under HTS code 9406 can land differently than steel structures under HTS code 7308. I'm putting an on-screen graphic up right now with those codes. Run this by a licensed customs broker before you place your order. And then from port to property. Commercial flatbed truck at $3 to $5 per mile, plus crane rental at $1,000 to $2,500 for a half-day minimum. For a standard 20-foot double-wing expandable unit, with all the math done, factory unit, ocean freight, tariffs, domestic trucking, crane, foundation, and utility connections, you're looking at a total landed cost of approximately $55,000 to $75,000. Compare that to site-built construction at $150 to $250 per square foot. A modest 400 square foot dwelling at the low end of that range is $60,000 in pure construction, before land, before foundation, before site prep, before permits. And traditional prefab modular, with all its add-ons, often $100,000 to $200,000 by the time you are done. The expandable folding home category consistently costs 20 to 40% less than traditional construction when you compare equivalent finished square footage. Even finished units available without international shipping, domestic resellers do exist, show 409 square foot move-in ready units for under $30,000. That is not hypothetical. That is a product you can buy today. Now, let us talk about the thing that genuinely stopped me when I was researching this video, because I had to double-check these numbers more than once. Traditional site-built construction, 6 to 12 months minimum, often longer. Traditional prefab modular, factory build in a few weeks, but site prep, delivery, assembly, and finishing typically still runs 2 to 4 months. Expandable folding homes? You can be done in a day. I'm not exaggerating. Z-Fold systems are documented to unfold in approximately 1 minute. No specialized tools, no skilled labor required. X-Fold wing systems are designed as open and use. You pull the hydraulic supports and the walls swing out. The more feature-rich expandable luxury units, the ones with pre-installed electrical, plumbing, and furnishings, are verified at 10-minute deployment times across multiple resort and residential installations. Foldable units requiring a bit more setup still come in at 1 to 2 hours for full assembly by a small crew. Order to occupancy for most expandable folding homes runs 30 to 90 days, the bulk of that being manufacturing and shipping time, not construction time. Manufacturers report that clients across more than 40 countries have achieved project timeline reductions exceeding 60% compared to traditional construction. If you're trying to get off a lease quickly, set up a guest house fast, or deploy housing on a remote property, this speed advantage is not just convenient. It is transformative. Okay, this is the moment I told you about at the top. The hidden cost. And it is not the tariffs. I already covered those. This one is sneakier. It is financing. Here is the problem. Because expandable folding homes are relatively new, because they often lack a permanent foundation initially, and because they do not fit neatly into traditional real estate categories, lenders do not know what to do with them. Securing a standard 30-year mortgage on one of these is genuinely difficult. Your options are an unsecured personal loan for budgets under $50,000. Those carry higher interest rates, which matters over time. Or, if you place the unit on a permanent foundation, pull local permits, and have it classified as real property, some local banks and credit unions will issue a construction of permanent loan. But that process takes time, paperwork, and a lender who understands what you are doing. The good news is that the lower purchase price of an expandable home means the loan amount you need is significantly smaller than with traditional construction, which partially offsets the interest rate disadvantage. And if you are buying with cash or savings, which is more realistic at the $55,000 to $75,000 price point than at $200,000, the financing issue goes away entirely. But you need to know this going in. Do not get a closing on a lot and discover you cannot finance your home. There's one more thing I want to flag honestly. If you keep the unit mobile on temporary blocks, not a permanent foundation, it will depreciate more like an RV than a traditional home. If you anchor it permanently, permit it as an ADU or primary dwelling, and connect to municipal utilities, it can add real appraisable square footage to your property and appreciate accordingly. The choice you make at setup determines the long-term financial trajectory of the investment. Let me be direct with you about who this makes sense for and who it probably does not. Great fit for expandable folding homes. Someone who needs housing fast, especially if you're dealing with a remote property, a temporary situation, or a short deployment window. Someone building an ADU in their backyard to generate rental income. At $55,000 to $75,000 total, the math on short-term rental income can work well. Glamping resort and eco-retreat developers. This is one of the biggest growth use cases right now. Developers are using these units to rapidly stand up 10, 20, or 30-unit hospitality properties at a fraction of conventional construction cost. People looking for off-grid flexibility. These units are relocatable if needed and pair well with solar, composting toilets, and rainwater systems. Probably not the best fit if you want a large family home. Most single expandable units are 200 to 600 square feet. You can link multiple units together to scale up, but it adds complexity and cost. If you want 1,500 square feet with a traditional feel, conventional modular may serve you better. Your local zoning is highly restrictive. Building codes and permit requirements vary enormously at the county level. Some jurisdictions have embraced these units. Others have not caught up yet. Your land has no road access for heavy equipment. You need a flatbed truck and a crane to deliver these. If you cannot get that equipment to your site, you have a logistical problem that needs to be solved before you order. All right, this is what I promised you at the start. After running all the numbers, factory price, shipping, tariffs, crane, foundation, utilities, financing, depreciation, here is my honest take. In 2026, expandable folding homes win on cost at the entry and mid-tier levels. Full stop. A 20-foot double-wing unit all-in for $55,000 to $75,000, ready to live in within 90 days, is not something traditional prefab can match at that price point. The 20 to 40% cost advantage over comparable traditional construction is real, and it is documented. They also win on speed. And if time is money for you, that win compounds. Traditional prefab wins on scale, familiarity, and financing. If you need 1,200 square feet of living space, a mortgage-friendly structure, and you're not in a hurry, traditional modular still makes sense. The quality gap that used to exist between factory-built and site-built homes has largely closed. Modern prefab is a legitimate, durable product, but the paradigm is shifting. The foldable container house market was valued at $1.8 billion in 2024 and is forecasted to grow at a 10% compound annual growth rate. The global modular construction market is projected to grow from $104 billion in 2024 to nearly $141 billion by 2030. The money and the innovation is flowing toward flexibility, speed, and lower cost. Expandable folding homes are not a fringe product anymore. They are a category that is eating into the market, and in 2026, the numbers are good enough that anyone serious about affordable housing needs to be paying attention to them. That is the honest answer, not hype, just math. That is the full breakdown. Expandable folding homes versus traditional prefab in 2026. Real cost data, real timelines, real caveats, no sponsor spin. If you found this useful, the best thing you can do is subscribe and share this with one person who is thinking about housing right now. This channel only grows when people like you spread it to people who need it. Drop a comment and let me know, would you consider an expandable folding home? What is holding you back? I want to hear what your actual situation looks like. Next week, we're going back to one of the most requested topics. I'm going to break down whether it is actually possible to build a livable, tiny home for under $30,000 in today's market. That one is going to be interesting. See you then.